James Paul McCartney was born the 18th of June 1942. He is an English singer, songwriter, musician, composer, and record and film producer who gained worldwide fame as co-lead vocalist and bassist for the Beatles. His songwriting partnership with John Lennon remains the most successful in history. After the group disbanded in 1970, he pursued a solo career and formed the band Wings with his first wife, Linda, and Denny Laine.
Watch out off the motor cars.
Suicide.
Yeah, anyway, that's the answer to the question.
Yeah. It's very nice to be in Ireland, though.
Both bits.
Yeah.
Have you been in any way flattered by the hysterical reaction of teenagers?
Yeah, very flattered.
It's been great. It was marvellous last night. And we hope it'll be as good tonight.
You were very satisfied with the
Yeah,
performance?
it was great. It was marvellous. The people are wonderful, you know. They go
Loved
mad.
that audience.
And 6 cars were arrested.
We were locked in the dressing room, you know, when it all happened at the time. So I said to Paul, you know, what's happening? I love that.
Well, boys, could I introduce you to my barber?
Yeah,
No, that's the less of the gags. You know, you look like Matt Monroe.
Yeah.
Give us a Russia with love.
Thanks, boys. Thank you very much.
We'd seen the film before on Saturday, and none of us were, very excited until we saw it with the audience, and it was great.
It's quite a scrum. I think
It was much better with all the people laughing and booing.
John, what's the next big event then?
Friday, the premiere in Liverpool, which we're looking forward to. That's the next big event. I don't know what happens after that.
Well, thank you all very much. Best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I find myself in distinguished company.
The second time.
And may I, without more ado, introduce George Harrison,
Hello.
MBE.
Oh, thank you.
John Lennon, MBE.
Oh, sorry.
Ringo Starr, MBE. and Paul McCartney, MBE. Now, a general question to all you gentlemen, and I must call you gentlemen now. How do you feel, John, about having the MBE?
I feel great, we're honoured. We are, though.
Were you terribly surprised?
Yeah, everybody was, I think. I think we were the most surprised. Us and Donald Zack.
George,
Yeah?
what was your first reaction when you heard you'd been awarded the MBE?
Well, I didn't believe it really at first, but then when they sent me all bits of paper saying that, and you wrote it in the papers, well, you had to believe it. It's great, Didn't expect it at all,
Ringo hasn't told his mum yet. Is this true, Ringo? You haven't told your mum about this yet?
No, she'll have read about it today, though.
Were you surprised at all?
Yes, very.
When did you first know you had been awarded the MBE?
2 days ago. We had the form 6 weeks ago to fill in, but we didn't know we'd actually got it till 2 days ago.
Did the form come with the rest of your fan mail, or did it come separately? In a very sort of impressive envelope?
Yes, we all thought it was caller papers. I keep using that line, it's not mine. And but when we opened them, it was, if you'd like to have an MBE, sign here. So we did it. Yes, so we signed our name, Richard Starkey, MBE, not Ringo.
Thank you very much.
Still the same Ringo.
Sent 2 bottle tops and we got it.
Paul, how do you react to having this award?
I think it's great. Marvellous. It is, isn't it? You can't say anything about it.
Do you think you really deserve an award like the MBE?
I don't know, What does it matter? We got it, man. Isn't it?
You got a medal of the actual MBE. Where will you wear it?
I hope it's on a bit of a tag so you can shove it around your neck, because if it's got a pin, you wreck all your suits. I don't want a bit of a tab on that.
Your reaction to some of the holders of the MBE returning their medals in protest of the Beatles being on it?
Well, my first reaction is that there's been a lot of public outcry about this business, which is
completely stupid. The whole business of awarding MBEs is outdated, I think. Well, this Medal of the British Empire raises a question: where is the British Empire? It's purely an honorary thing. Give it to anyone you like. I don't think it's got any value at all. So why not give it to the Beatles? They've done more for export than almost anyone else put together. How do you feel about some holders of the MBE who are returning their medals in protest of the Beatles being honoured?
I think they should do, because they've obviously got their MBEs for something good that they've done, which is no comparison to what the Beatles have got their MBEs for.
If I had the MBE, I think I should be slightly put out at being placed on the same level as a pop singer.
John, had you met the Queen before?
No, first time.
What did she think of you in the flesh? Did she tell you?
No, she's not going to say either way, you know, but she seemed pleasant enough to us, you know, made us relaxed.
Ringo, what did she say to you? She seemed to spend rather more time with you.
It wasn't that, really. She was talking to Paul and I butted in once, and then she said, did you start it all? And I said, no, they started it all. I was the last to join.
Did you find it a frightening occasion compared with the stage?
Not really. It was just different, you know. It wasn't terrifying.
Paul, how did you find it? How were you prepared for this?
I wasn't really. I didn't know what it was going to be like, you know. But it turned out, I know, sort of as I imagined it, but I didn't have a definite picture. It was like I think you'd imagine it, you know.
Yeah.
Very formal, but it was good, you know. She put us at our ease.
Did she talk to you about the reason that you got the awards?
No, she didn't say a thing about that. The only thing she said to me was, how long have you been together? And I said, many years. To which Ringo quipped, 40 years we've been together now.
One of you, I believe it was George, am I right, said that you couldn't comment on Vietnam in this country, but you could in England. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
I didn't say that. Maybe one of us said that, but I didn't. It was me. Well, you know about that anyway, you know. I mean, we could say a thing about, like John's religious thing in England, and it wouldn't be taken up and misinterpreted quite as much as it tends to get here a bit. You know, I mean, you know it does. But it was.
To say it again and again.
Whip
it up with it.
The thing is, I think, you know, you can say things like that in England, and people will listen a bit more than they do in America, because in America somebody will take it up and use it completely against you, and not have many scruples about doing that. And I don't know. You know, I'm probably putting my foot in it saying that, but
you'll be explaining for the next.
Yeah, I know. Oh well, it's just wonderful here.
Paul, good evening. Hello. John Edwards right here. How are you? Can I just have a brief word with you? Yeah. If you never toured again, would it worry you?
I don't know. No, I don't think so.
Wouldn't worry you?
But because the only thing about that, you see, is that performance for us, see, it's gone downhill, performance, because we can't develop when no one can hear us, you know what I mean? So for us to perform is, it's difficult, gets difficult each time.
You mean they don't listen to you, and therefore you don't want to do that?
Oh yeah, we want to do it, but if we're not listened to, then, and we can't even hear ourselves, then we can't improve in that. We can't get any better. So we're trying to get better with things like
sort of getting on very well in this society we've got. It's a bit too controlled, you know, because you suddenly you want to go and do something, and somebody says, "Oh no, subsection B, clause A, you can't do that," you know, and you say, "Well, why not?" Because you know, I'm a human being and that, and haven't I got my rights? I say, "Well, yes, but you're not allowed to do that." And you say, "Well, you know, if it doesn't interfere with anyone, it must be okay." And they say, "Sorry, it still isn't," you know. So people have suddenly, I think a lot of people have twigged that this, they've shut themselves in a bit, you know. They've got all these rules for everything, rules of how to live, how to paint, how to make music. And it's just not true anymore, you know. They don't work, all those rules, because you can't apply them, because it means then that you're assuming that you know it all, you know, and primitive man, us, and something else, you know, and we don't know it all yet. they're talking about things that are a bit new. They're talking about things which people don't really know too much about yet. And so, you know, people sort of put them down a bit and say, you know, weirdo, psychedelic and things. But it's really just what's going on around, and they're just trying to look into it a bit. And these other people are looking into what else it is, you know, and what else its possibilities are. And it's a straight sort of inquiry that they're doing. They're not doing anything strange. You know, everyone's talking aloud. Everyone's talking to themselves, really. They're just all talking aloud, and they help each other, you know, by saying various ideas about things. It's a good environment, you know. If there's a whole gang of people that like cider, and you're a cider addict, then it's nice to be with them, you know.
I think that's an interesting thing.
This one piece will make 52 layers.
Watch on mobile devices or the big screen. All for free. No subscription required.
I don't think many people are going to come up with the answer. You know, I don't think anyone's going to come up with the answer for a long time. But at the moment, there are just sort of a few new fields that are getting opened. And people are saying, you know, well, this could be possible and this could be true. With doing anything like this, is that I remember when anyone, you know, when anyone did anything vaguely against normal things, you know, that I always used to think, well, he's a crank, you know, or if he sat down in Trafalgar Square, I thought, you know, there's the little pigeonhole to put him in, you know, he's nuts. A lot of people, anyway, think like that, you know. Once they see you say something about Vietnam, they think, of course, that's what he is, you know. He's a crank about Vietnam. That solves it. And I get a bit of that, you know, because I'm, you know, I fit into a neat little pigeonhole, which is like, I don't know, rock and roll gone too far, you know. I think that's what people think. Of course, he's cracked. He's nuts now. Trouble is that all these rules, people getting frightened once they see someone who doesn't agree with the rules, you know, because it's breaking a whole foundation of everything they believe in and live in, you know. So that when these weirdos, inverted commas, come up and say, you know, look, my hair's long and it's great, you know, and I'm growing a beard, you know, and I don't care about you and stuff, then the people think, well, you know, what is this, man? You know, he should stick along with it all like us. And then even if he says, well, you know, you're all wrong, your rules are wrong, they don't want to know, really. You know, because that's their life, that's their whole shell. So you can't really come along and just burst it. You've got to do it very gently and say, you know, look, I really wish the people that look sort of with anger at the weirdos, at the happenings, at the psychedelic freakout, would instead of just looking with anger, just look with nothing and with no feeling, you know, be unbiased about it. Because they really don't realize that what these people are talking about is something that they really want themselves. It's something that everyone wants. You know, it's personal freedom to be able to talk and be able to say things. And it's dead straight. It's a real sort of basic pleasure for everyone. But it looks weird from the outside, but it isn't. It's really great, straight. I remember that was exactly what I wanted then, what I want now. You know, which is just to be able to move freely, you know, and do what you want to do as long as you don't interfere with other people. If you interfere, okay, then you've got to have rules against you, because you could just go around, you know, doing anything, which might be a bit of a drag for some people. But first of all, then we can have rules against that. But I mean, at least you must be able to do what you want to do without interference. Because, you know, there's nobody who's got any right to tell you not to. Because they're only the same as you. You know, and it's really just, it needs everyone in the world to realize that inside them is the same thing that's inside everyone. You know, and that's all there is to it. And there's nobody better than anyone else. You see the word, any new strange word like psychedelic, you know, drugs, the whole bit, you know, freak out music and all of that. Don't immediately take it as that, you know, because your first reaction's got to be one of fear, you know. So if you don't fear it, then you can look at it straight and think, well, you know, psychedelic, now what does it mean? And then somebody might explain, you know. But there is this other point of view where if you don't know anything about it, you can sort of trust that it's probably going to be all right. It's probably not that bad. Because, like, it's human beings doing it, and you know vaguely what human beings do. And, you know, they're probably going to think of it nearly the same way you would in that situation. And that's true, you know. You can trust to the fact that things are generally not as bad as you make them out to be.
Drawings, and it's like us animated goes through it, you know.
But did Mystery Tour put you off making a film completely yourselves?
Yeah, we're only ever going to be cartoons forever now, because they really put us off those.
It's a new career piece.
Those no good damn critics.
The film makes, the cartoon makes a bit of fun of the Maharishi. Does this mean that you've finished with him now? He's
Well,
a
it's
figure of fun.
not finished with, you know, but we're over that phase. It was a bit of a phase. But he's still a nice fella and everybody's fine, but we don't go out with him anymore.
How did you enjoy your wedding breakfast?
Fine, thank you. Lovely, yes.
The wedding was delayed an hour. What happened there?
Brother Mike was on British Railways again, so he got held up, and he was best man, so we waited for him.
When did you decide to get married, Paul?
About a week ago.
What prompted it?
Just, you know, so we decided to do it instead of thinking about it.
Linda, how do you feel about it all? You're obviously terribly happy. How are you feeling this morning?
Terribly happy.
That sounds good enough.
Unquote.
Lily, you've been described as a New York socialite. Does this mean you'll be spending much of your time in New York?
Yeah.
Where will you be living?
In London.
In London. Paul, what about you? How do you feel to be the father
Yes, I'll be
to a
living in
6-year-old?
London.
You'll be living in London. How about being the father to a 6-year-old
It's
child?
terrible. It's terrible. I hate it. I hate it, and it's going to be a terrible burden. I do. It's horrible. Yeah. You're on the telly. You're on the telly. Quick.
Are you going on a honeymoon anywhere?
We may get away in a couple of days, but I've got some work and stuff still to do.
So that gets in the way of the honeymoon?
It does, yeah.
Where are you going to go to when you've
I don't
finished your
know.
work?
I haven't thought of anything yet.
What are you going to do for the rest of the day? You're going to have a celebration later, perhaps?
Yeah, I'll take a bit of a rest first. It's been a bit hectic.
Many of the fans, the girls who've been waiting outside the house and outside the hotel today, seem to be more than upset about this. What do you feel?
I don't know what I feel about that, you know.
This is a problem you've met before.
No, it's okay. I talked to it. I don't know. It's just different.
Paul McCartney is a self-taught musician. McCartney is proficient on bass, guitar, keyboards, and drums. He is known for his melodic approach to bass playing, mainly playing with a plectrum, his versatile and wide tenor vocal range, spanning over 4 octaves, and his eclecticism, exploring styles ranging from pre-rock and roll pop to classical and electronica. McCartney began his career as a member of the Quarrymen in 1957, which evolved into the Beatles in 1960. Starting with the 1967 album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, he gradually became the Beatles' de facto leader, providing the creative impetus for most of their music and film projects. His Beatles songs, And I Love Her, 1964, Yesterday, 1965, Eleanor Rigby, 1966, and Blackbird, 1968, rank among the most covered songs in history. McCartney's earliest musical influences include Elvis Presley, Little Richard, Buddy Holly, Carl Perkins, and Chuck Berry. When asked why the Beatles did not include Presley on the Sgt. Pepper cover, McCartney replied, "Elvis was too important and too far above the rest even to mention, so we didn't put him on the list because he was more than merely a pop singer, he was Elvis the King." McCartney stated that for his bass line for I Saw Her Standing There, he directly quoted Berry's I'm Talking About You. McCartney called Little Richard an idol, whose falsetto vocalizations inspired McCartney's own vocal technique. McCartney said he wrote I'm Down as a vehicle for his Little Richard impersonation. In 1971, McCartney bought the publishing rights to Holly's catalog, and in 1976, on the 40th anniversary of Holly's birth, McCartney inaugurated the annual Buddy Holly Week in England. The festival has included guest performances by famous musicians, songwriting competitions, drawing contests and special events featuring performances by the Crickets. At the age of 15 on 6 July 1957, McCartney met John Lennon and his band, the Quarrymen, at the St. Peter's Church Hall Fete in Woolton. The Quarrymen played a mix of rock and roll and skiffle, a type of popular music with jazz, blues and folk influences. Soon afterwards, the members of the band invited McCartney to join as a rhythm guitarist, and he formed a close working relationship with Lennon. Harrison joined in 1958 as lead guitarist, followed by Lennon's art school friend Stuart Sutcliffe on bass, in 1960. By May 1960 the band had tried several names, including Johnny and the Moondogs, Beatles and the Silver Beatles. They adopted the name The Beatles in August 1960 and recruited drummer Pete Best shortly before a 5-engagement residency in Hamburg. After the Beatles in 1970, McCartney debuted as a solo artist with the album McCartney. Throughout the 1970s, he led Wings, one of the most successful bands of the decade, with more than a dozen international top 10 singles and albums. McCartney resumed his solo career in 1980. Since 1989, he has toured consistently as a solo artist. In 1993, he formed the music duo The Firemen with Youth of Killing Joke. Beyond music, he has taken part in projects to promote international charities related to such subjects as animal rights, seal hunting, land mines, vegetarianism, poverty, and music education.
Bill? Why did you pick that particular environmental group to associate this tour?
There's no reason why it was that particular group. It could have been a number of groups. The reason is the issue. It could have been Greenpeace. It could have been Friends of the Earth. They were there at the right time. It's just a question of timing. You know, I saw them on a TV program in England talking about, I think it was the Exxon oil spill, something like that. But they seem to have the facts, and they seem to be a sensible group. So I talked to them, and they were sensible. Basically, the only reason I'm interested in the environmental issue is that I'm a father of 4 children, and like most people, probably everyone in this room, this year, when we found out that there was a hole in the ozone layer that was dangerous, I think it pointed up the environmental thing, you know, and the fact that we really have got to start cleaning up, or we're going to fry. Even the people, Exxon, have got children, and their children are going to want to swim in lakes and rivers. So it just seemed like a good time for everyone to start addressing the issue. So I'm really just helping, giving them publicity. I don't know an awful lot of facts about it, you know, so if you ask me about specific issues, I'm just the man in the street kind of thing, as far as that's concerned, like a concerned parent. And I think normally at these press conferences I ask for anybody who doesn't want the world cleaned up and want an unpolluted world, could they put their hand up? And of course no hands ever go up, you know, because we all agree that it's time to start sorting this problem out. So I'm just hopeful that by giving a little bit of publicity to these people on this tour, which reaches a lot of people through the TV and the radio and the shows, that it'll just turn the whole thing around. Because I think people are going to do it anyway, with or without me. But I'm just adding my little bit of weight to the campaign, and hope that, you know, towards the 90s and into the next century, that we will seriously start to live on a clean planet. Because as far as I'm concerned, it probably is the only one in the universe that can support our life the way we want it. It's certainly the only one with rivers and trees and stuff. I mean, we've been everywhere else, been the moon, Mars, and there's dust, you know. So it seems like this is worth keeping, you know. So that's the reason.
Well, Paul, could you tell us about your movie that you were filming in Toronto on Tuesday? I understand you're filming here tonight again.
Yeah, we're filming Richard Lester, who made the original Beatle films, Hard Day's Night in Hell, and a number of other films since, is doing a feature film which features the concert and various other things. I think there's some inclusion of the Friends of the Earth issue and that sort of thing. But that's basically what it's for. A film out, I think, maybe within the next year, which will it centres on all the concerts we're doing. And he's taking some stuff in Toronto, some stuff in Japan, to get the kind of global aspect too.
Paul, it's become clear in the last couple of years there's a lot of stuff in the EMI vaults from the Beatles days that hasn't been released, either alternate versions of some of the songs you did or songs you did for other people. Would you like to see some of that come out legitimately now that you've extended your royalties from?
Yeah, some of it is going to come out. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. You know, like any of these kind of old rehashes. It's like Jim Reeves and Buddy Holly, you know, after they died, suddenly you'd see these kind of not very good records coming out with, like Buddy, they put the Fireballs on one of the records, if you remember, you know. They weren't very good records. But there are some things, there's some tapes from the BBC in London that we did, which are kind of terrific. You know, they were never our favourite tracks, I must get that out straight, you know, but the fact is, because the Beatles was what the Beatles was, and because it's a long time now, I think they have a certain interest. My favourite is John singing Leave My Kitten Alone. Okay? We just got bleeped. Yeah.
Back in '87, you told Rolling Stone magazine that the two reasons to go on tour would be first to have good enough material on a new album to go on tour, and then to have a band with you.
Yeah.
This time around, I understand you're playing half of Flowers in the Dirt. You're playing not that many songs from 70 to 86. Is there any reason for it?
No, not really. It's just the selection that we've done. I originally sat down when we were planning this tour and just thought, if I was going to this show, what would I like to see them play? And I wrote down a list of about 35 songs, which included stuff from the Beatle days through to now, to the new album. And then we goofed around with this stuff in rehearsal and found that certain ones work better than others live. Things like Sgt. Pepper, because they've got lines in it about "you're such a lovely audience," we love, you know. And I'd never sung that to an audience because the only time I ever did that song was when we recorded it. The day we recorded it, and then you kind of put it in the vaults and they released it. And the Beatles weren't touring then, so we never did that song. So some of those had to be in the set, really. And it's long enough now, since the breakup of the Beatles, for me not to really feel the pain of it. It's like an old divorce. You know, after a long time, you don't sort of hate the whole affair like when you're right on top of it. All of us refused to do Beatle material for quite a few years after the breakup. Really, in order to just kind of concentrate on our new careers and kind of get ourselves established as life after the Beatles, you know. So now I think we've ended up with 16 Beatles songs, 15 non-Beatles songs in the set. So it's a pretty good mix. But as you say, there aren't that many songs from the sort of Wings period. There are reasons. I mean, for instance, Mull of Kintyre would have been a good record to do maybe in Canada because it sold well here, and you've got a lot of Scottish people over here. And French like bagpipes too. But I mean, so I hear anyway. But in America, that wouldn't have made as much sense. So you've got to try and work it out so you get a set that will satisfy most people. I think we've got a pretty good balance.
Paul, can
yes.
you say what stimulates your inspiration?
My inspiration mainly just comes from fiddling around with music. I nearly always get the melody first. It's not often that my inspiration is a lyrical one. Something like Eleanor Rigby, I would have just written a da-da-da-da, and then the words start to come. That's mainly how I work. So these days, it's still the same. Sitting down with an instrument, and then if you find a nice musical phrase comes out, that's how I do it. But lyrically, it might be things within my own life, like my family. These days, I've got a song on the new album called Put It There, which is based on something my dad used to say to us as kids. Just put it there if it weighs a ton. Those are silly jokes. And I found myself telling my own son, put it there, voices. That's what your grandfather used to say that, you know, kind of thing you do with kids. And it just struck me as being a good title, so I made that into a song. But it's not all, and We Got Married on the new album is largely about my life. But it can be anything, it really can be anything. It can just be something I hear on TV, or, you know, it's not necessarily, I also have another set of songs which are just made up, and they're not about me, although a psychiatrist would probably disagree. Yeah.
After so many years, after so many songs, how would you describe your musical evolution? You address the song the same way you do?
No, you can't address it the same way, because I was 25 years younger then. You know, I was just a kid fresh out of Liverpool. Everything was a novelty. Plus I was a bachelor, which changes things, you know. I still enjoy it as much, but obviously the novelty can't remain 20 years later, because you've been doing it for 20 years, you know, it's impossible to keep it that fresh. I still love doing it as much. If I have a day off, that's when I write. You know, I'm supposed to be resting, so writing for me is resting. I've got a real interesting project on at the moment with it's a composer called Carl Davis, who conducts and writes for orchestras. And we're doing a thing for the Liverpool Cathedral, which is to be in 1991, where it's a piece which is like about an hour or so long for the orchestra and for the choir. So that's very different from anything I've ever written. I don't know. Got to finish it first. We're halfway through. It's very interesting for me, because normally the way I write is intro, verse, chorus, verse, middle eight, chorus, good night. You know, it's the way everyone writes. You know, but with writing this other type of music, where quote serious, kind of classical music for an orchestra, you never have to go back to anything. So it's very interesting. Or you come back in the fourth movement to a theme you had then. So it's a stretch, as the Americans say. For me.
The Hofner bass is back with you on this tour. I'd like to know what attracted you to that instrument, first of all, and second of all, is that the original?
This is one of the originals. I had a couple, and there was one stolen. But this one here, it's got the actual, you see a little bit of plastic up at the top of it, on the side. That's the actual gig list from Candlestick Park. So it's just a little piece of paper. It starts off rock and roll music, Babies in Black, I Feel Fine, and finishes with Yesterday spelt wrong. But so yeah, what originally attracted me to that bass was being left-handed. I would always play other basses, and because of the cutaway and because of the arrangement of all the pickups and all the knobs, I always looked stupid. You know, anyone could go, you can't play it. It looked like, because I had to turn it upside down and restring it. And the good thing about this was it looked kind of symmetrical. You know, the violin shape's sort of symmetrical, so even if you turn it upside down, it doesn't look that mad. And plus, I didn't have a lot of money. I was working in Hamburg, and it cost about 30 quid, 30 pounds. I'd hate to tell you what it costs now.
Paul, how do you feel about
It's gone up a bit.
How do you feel about the way Tears for Fears has borrowed the Beatles sound for sowing the seeds of love? Do you have any views on that?
Yeah, I think it's quite nice, really. I mean, when I first heard it, it was a bit of a shock. It was like, oh, who are they kidding? You know? But I see it as a tribute. You know, they could have been doing a Doors takeoff, could have been doing a Rolling Stones takeoff, you know, and stolen that style. But they're quite honest about it. You know, they're quite open that it is a tribute to the Beatles, and it's purposely that kind of '67 Sgt. Pepper style. It's quite funny, you know. It's a tribute. You know, I'm honoured. This is two contemporary guys. One of them's being John, the other one's being me. So I mean, I'm going to put in for a royalty.
Do you have the album?
I haven't got the album yet. No, I've seen the single everywhere though.
Paul.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't even know if this is a question. Earlier
It probably is.
maybe. I just want you to comment on something to sort of get some insight into you. Earlier this week here in Montreal, there was this really horrible tragedy.
Yeah.
A lot of people that were affected by that are people who are your fans, and many will be here tonight and many won't. How do you feel about that, and are you going to make any mention tonight?
Well, I mean, I was really waiting until now to see who was going to mention what, you know. My first reaction was to mention it, but something like that is just so shocking. There's not an awful lot you can say, you know. Coming so near to the anniversary of John's death too, it's weird. I was as shocked, I think, as everyone in the world. You know, we were in Toronto and I saw it on the news. I really don't know what to say. I think I'm like everyone else. What can you say? There's some guy. I mean, you can say, maybe it argues for gun control, which I would say. Not everyone agrees with that. I think it should be harder for people to get hold of guns like it is in England. Over here, you can buy them in magazines and stuff, but that's your tradition. Unfortunately, like America, it's written into your American Constitution. I'm not sure if it's in yours, but the right to bear arms is in the American Constitution. It's a very difficult problem. Personally, I would say it argues very strongly for gun control, but you're going to get the National Rifleman Association kind of different with me on that. But you know, it was just one of those terrible, mad, shocking things that happens in our society today. I don't know how you stop it.
Would you dedicate Let It Be, perhaps, or a song that...
If you think it'd help, I'll do anything, you know, but I don't know if it'll just reawaken memories. I mean, I'll do it. You know, if you think it's the right thing to do, I've got to ask you people. You know, it's not my town, it's not my tragedy, really.
Just make a mention of it.
Okay, I will in that case.
The fact it was 14 women, the guy hated women, and it's a shock to see that so many young girls.
I must say, it did occur to me the day after when I was thinking about it, because you know, it's the kind of thing you can't get out of your mind. These major tragedies. I did think, I wonder if any of those kids had a ticket to the show. But anyway, look, you know, it's just tragic, and all I can say is for the parents and stuff, you know, I'm just devastated, and there's nothing more I can say about it, really.
Paul?
Yeah.
Paul, in the space of about 6 days, music fans here are being treated to your concert and Rolling Stones. I'm wondering if you can flash back over your career. Was there ever a time when either yourself and the Stones or Beatles and Stones collaborated in the studio? I know that they once did I Want to Be Your Man.
No,
but did you ever come close? Was that ever...
We never actually collaborated on anything. No. We were good friends in the 60s. It was a nice loose scene. It was like a little sort of cafe, Greenwich Village type scene, you know, in London then. It was very loose. All those kids coming out of the suburbs trying to make our fortune with this rock and roll business. So we were all good mates, and how Wanna Hold Your Hand came about was Mick and Keith were in a taxi in Charing Cross Road in London, and John and I were looking at the guitar shops, which are also in Charing Cross Road. We saw them, we said, stopped the taxi, jumped into the taxi with them, and got chatting, and I think George had just managed to get them their record contract. He talked to the man at the record company who'd said, do you know of any good bands? George said, yeah, there's this real hot band called the Stones. We'd seen a few nights before. And they were all looking for the new Beatles, right? And this was the record company that had turned us down, so they needed to kind of do something quick, you know. So George Harrison told them about the Stones. And then, consequently, when we were in this taxi, they were now looking for material. And John and I suggested, I want to Be Your Man. Might be good for them, because we knew they were into that kind of thing. They'd done some stuff that was in that kind of bag. That's the closest we ever came to collaborating. We were just good friends through the 60s. Good guys. And the joke used to be that everyone used to think they were dirty, right? Everyone thought they had long hair. But you look at those pictures, they're very clean young boys, very smartly turned out, you know. It's really nothing like long hair is this. What do you mean filthy? He said, well, that Mick Jagger, he said he wore the same T-shirt on stage as he'd been wearing all day. I thought, well, that's filth, you know, that is real filth. What are you going to do?
All songs from the post-Beatle period, do you still really like? You say, oh, I'd do that again, or that's still...
From the post-Beatle period, quite a few of them. Maybe I'm Amazed, Every Night, Band on the Run, My Love, Mulligan Time. We Got Married, put it there. My Very Face. There's a lot of stuff I like, you know. But I think that the thing, what happens historically, is set against the Beatles stuff. You know, the Beatles stuff always looks better just because it was the Beatles. Doesn't bother me, no. No, I'm part of it all, so I'm quite happy.
Paul have
and the deep emotion, visceral feeling when they hear, particularly a lot of people own their Beatles songs.
Yeah.
Do you ever get that same feeling? Do you ever
Yeah, I do. Every night. I get it every night at the gig, actually. Particularly with the song Can't Buy Me Love. And my theory is, because it comes right in with the hook. There's no sort of dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, which goes, can't buy me. You haven't got time to catch your breath, and it's just one of those songs, just takes you right back. It kind of kicks me in the stomach every night. It's good.
Paul, about ecology.
Sorry, he hasn't had a question.
Do you wish to challenge other pop stars to make efforts?
Well, I mean, the interesting thing is that the pop stars themselves make the efforts without me telling them. You know, I think we've now got a tradition in music which started to come alive maybe in the 60s. It was going before then. You know, there were plenty of musicians who were good-thinking people. But I think, you know, with Bangladesh in the 60s, trying to relieve that famine problem, with All You Need Is Love, with some of the philosophies mentioned by the Beatles, and then more recently with Live Aid and with Prince's Trust, you know, helping kids get started and stuff. Then with Sting in the Rainforest, Peter Gabriel, there are a lot, and Amnesty International. I think there are a lot of concerned people, and I think it's great that they talk to the kids, and instead of talking about, wow, you know, the toothpaste I use, it's like, what are we going to do for the future? You know, what do you think? I think the audience is perhaps more thinking audience now. It's all a little bit more political than it was. Certainly Live Aid was a major political event.
Wondering why you haven't played here in 25 years.
I'm wondering that too.
Why didn't Wings play here?
I don't actually know. You know, I get this. They say, why didn't you play San Diego? Why aren't you playing Philadelphia? It's normally a question for the promoters. It's to do with availability of halls, often. On this tour, we've missed quite a few cities out that I would have liked to have done. I mean, we're not playing Texas, which I would have liked to have done. You know, I got a lot of fans in Texas. But it's something to do with the availabilities of the hall. You know, you've got to book these places like a year ahead. I don't get into that side of it, in truth. I like to play everywhere, including Moscow.
Paul, I was reading this morning in the newspaper around Toronto, and they were saying that Paul McCartney, with the death of Leonard Bernstein, is now the greatest living songwriter.
You mustn't believe what you read in the papers. It's not a heavy burden. It'd be heavy if it was the other way around. It's very, very pleasant, you know. I mean, I don't believe it, but it's very pleasant to be told that. It's a compliment, you know.
Always. What does your, I mean, how does your health support children?
How do I, health? Yeah. How do I do? I don't know, really. I'm a vegetarian, so this might have something to do with it. I've been a vegetarian for 20 years, and the whole family's been that way for 20 years, so I don't know. Plus, we committed to this whole touring thing about a year ago, so I've been kind of getting in some kind of training. I've been singing.
And why do you want everybody in your group to be vegetarian?
Well, I don't necessarily want them to be vegetarian, but the thing is, on a tour like this, someone like me pays for the food, and I can't buy meat. Sorry, guys. I'm on the side of the little animals have to die, you know what I mean? Like, they're all very strapping people. So a couple of the guys on the tour, we did get a couple of complaints very early on. Because, you know, you've got big guys here, riggers, truck drivers and that. You know, there were actually only 1 or 2 complaints. But, you know, they figure they need their meat, you know, people with the steroids and all this. But I pointed out to them, I said, you know, gorillas, male gorillas eat little leaves, you know. And I said, I'll match one of them against any of our riggers any day, you know. So, you know, think about it.
Yes, English question checked.
Have you? Oh, great.
We ought to go then.
Brilliant, okay, just a couple.
Sorry for my English.
Okay, man.
My question is how one can become your friend? Because I get a little help from you. You told that you would like to play everywhere, and now you have a lot of friends. It's natural in Czechoslovakia, and there are a lot of now students started democratic movement there, and they love you, and I'm sure they would like to see you there one day. How do you see it?
Well, I'd like to do that. You know, I'd also like to play Russia and stuff for the reason you say. There are a lot of people, I get a lot of letters from people behind what used to be the Iron Curtain, which now seems to be lifting fairly swiftly. I'm excited about that whole idea of the wall coming down and playing to those people. Looks like it's going to be easier than it used to be now. It'd be very good to do. I'd like to do it. We're hoping to maybe do that kind of thing next year. Yeah. I'd like to. Yeah, I think it's probably got to be the last question.
Okay. One of the charms of the Beatles was that they were funny, they were fooling around a lot, and somehow after they broke up, there was a lot of grief, and then John died, and, you know, and it seems like at the end of the 80s, you know, like George did when he was stabbed, it's easier to look back on it and laugh about it a little bit. Is that your case?
Yeah, I think that's true. I think at the time the Beatles broke up, it was a more difficult time in my life, certainly. You know, why we broke up was because it was the business thing. We were actually trying to just hold on to the money we'd made up till that point. And there was someone trying to take it off us. So it was a battle, you know, which we won in the end. But it was a long, painful battle, and it broke the Beatles up in the process. So obviously everyone would be a little depressed, but time is a great healer, you know. This is why I can do the Beatles songs happily now. It's just time. There's enough time gone by for everyone to kind of forget that and just try and remember like the good times. And there were plenty of those.
Paul, with that in mind, what is your personal relationship now with George Harrison?
Very good. It's very good. I haven't actually seen him for a while because I've been on tour. Ringo's been out on tour, and I'm not sure where George has been. He gets about a bit. But
you ever like get together at Christmas or something? And
yeah, I hope to this Christmas. Yeah, but yeah, the business thing has been in the way for about 20 years. But as you know, we've just solved that this year, and it's just finalised. So I'm hoping, you know, we'll get together now and get our families together. That's nice. Because they've all got kids, you know, we get the kids together. So it looks like it's going to happen. Happy Christmas. Bon Noël. Merci. Sure.
Okay.
See you, Andy. Take it easy. That's how I get on my pants. Have a good show. See you, bye. No. Unfortunately. You haven't heard that.